up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, spit it from the heart. This is State of the Game. We are here. I am Dano. I have my Boys in the Hood sweatpants on. I'm ready for this.
Oh, wow.
I'm prepared. In the words of the great Mega from Secret House Against, I'm hella Westy right now with my June shirt and the anyway. I'm ready, and I'm here as always with my co-host who's halfway through his unauthorized biography of Reese Witherspoon. Hey, Diggy, thank you for never giving up on that. The world needs it.
Yep.
So we have special people here today. I am ready to rant and rave about the project that they have. Nothing is my favorite thing. We're talking about the diaper dandy of the LA beat scene, the Swarvy. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And one of my favorite rappers in the game. We're talking about Nappy. Nina, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I was asking before Kay about the reaction to this album because I have definitely been engaged in conversations with people about how they feel about the album, and people are like really surprised and enjoying it. And sometimes the Nina fan in me gets protective of that. They're like, this is actually really good. I'm like, take that surprise out of your fucking voice. What is this is Nina. Why are you so surprised? But I have lots of thoughts on that. I still think you are, underrated for where you should be. And I think this album discusses that to an extent. But yeah, I hope the reaction is treating you well because I think this is the best album you've made.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for that. Also, I think that's a big cheers to Swarvy and just,
Appreciate y'all.
the musicality behind the record and yeah, all of that. And I'm not mad at the surprise. I'm happy that people approach my music that way. Like I'm not, it doesn't feel disrespectful to be slept on. I'm not mad about that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it, calming myself down about it. But because I got all lines of thought here. But tell me, Swarvy, what is the percentage of samples on this album? Are there any samples? Is it sample?
No, there's no samples on the record.
Amazing.
Yeah,
But,
it's just
yeah, it really sounds like nothing else that I've heard.
That's crazy. That's what's up.
If I were to put like a list together and I don't want to put more lists together, but the best produced albums of the year, this is like up there with Preservation and Crime Apple and all that. Like it's up there with the very best.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Hey,
saying
what
that.
did you think about this sonically and how it hit you?
Yeah, it was just at its own. What I liked about it is the production felt like it was going at its own pace. That's what stood out to me. It just felt felt like a Sunday afternoon in a lot of ways.
That's fire. Like the sequencing of the record, the way it felt.
Yeah, no, just the tempo. Yeah, I did like the
okay.
sequencing, but the tempo,
Yeah.
it was very laid back in a lot of ways, which is kind of a contrast to the environment, the musical environment that we're in now. It just felt like very, very, very relaxed.
And
wow.
Yeah, I was cooking dinner today, Kay, which is tenuous for me anyway. Not my bag. And I was cooking and Quickness came on. And I just yelled West Coast shit really loud. I was just like, that it just feels like such a West Coast beat. And I always the beat is so overwhelming I forget that he loosens on it. And I'm like, holy shit, Lucy's on this. it's so cool. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Swarvy actually reminded me that Elucid, like originally we had a different track for him in mind, when I asked for him to get on the project, and I sent him both beats, I think, and then he ended up getting on this one with us thinking that he was getting on the other one. So it wasn't like completely, 100% thought out that he would hop on this, but I love that he did. And when he
Right.
did, he mentioned that it was a beat that he would not normally rap on. And he was like, thank you for that, because I feel like he got in his bag, a bag that he hadn't gotten in a while.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because I love that track. I love
Yeah.
what he added. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
love
think
his verse.
Elucid's a lot more versatile than even his fans give him credit for.
Yeah,
Like,
he's super
For
in the
sure.
pocket. And what I love about the Armor Hammer records with him is like I feel like he's always approaching his verses from different places. He did that here.
absolutely,
Yeah, he's
absolutely. And
crazy
this was
versatile.
definitely opulent, different. What, Swarvy, how did you feel when you got the finished product of that song and it was what it is?
Uh, yeah, I mean, we were like Nina was saying, we were surprised because I was like, we were sequencing the record, trying to fill in gaps for features and shit, that we were planning on getting. We were like, who would sound good on what, and we were trying to figure all that out. I think we asked a couple other people maybe to get on the track that we were thinking of, and then we ended up going with the Lucid. And then, so yeah, I was expecting him on a completely different joint. I think it's the joint, it's Liftoff. We were trying to
That's
get
what
him
I'm
on
saying.
Liftoff. Liftoff was supposed to be a longer track, and it was also the beat was different at the time. I think I can't remember.
Yeah, it
I'd be
was. I think
flipping the beat over
this
again.
version is the reverse version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. When I don't remember if that's what we sent to him, but yeah, like it was dope. Hearing his verse was crazy. I wasn't expecting it, so it was a huge surprise, and it really tied that song together. It makes the record, it like feels really good in the center of the record like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's oh man, there's so much to talk about with this record. Nina, this is one of the most spellbinding mixtures of confidence and anxiety in an album that I've dealt with. It's so cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's
Uh,
yeah.
I think all my records are about anxiety because it's something that I really deal with on the day to day. Um, and it's unavoidable, I feel like, in my raps. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just a confidence because of like where I'm at in my career and what I've been doing this for a while, but also like just having someone to work with who is kind of like, like I've been listening to Swarvy shit for a minute, and I was like, this is like when I reached out to him, I was like, yo, let's make some shit. And he was like, yeah, like I'm down to work. I've been thinking about this too, kind of, but like not
Yeah.
thinking about it in the way that like we were
Right.
like plotting on some shit. It was just like we had this in the back of our mind type thing. And I
Yeah.
think the confidence kind of showed up in that way because I felt like it was like the right time to make this record together, and like the production was just, I was sitting in that studio most days like really in awe, and I was just like, yo, I gotta come hard on this. So I think that's
When did you start making the record?
The first track was like 2 or 3 years ago. I was still in LA, so that was like maybe 2020. We made the first joint.
it was pre-pandemic. No, no,
Was
no,
it
no.
pre? No,
I'm,
it
I'm
was like
tripping.
mid-pandemic, I think. Wasn't it?
Basically,
There
it
was a
came
bunch of raps
about
on
like I came to LA like on a whim and
it.
to work with Swarvy basically, and then we recorded Pocket Promises. I think that
And
was the
Arm in
first
the
one.
Ring
And Arm
and maybe one more.
and Sheesh,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the little interlude. And then we didn't work on it for a while, and then I came
Yeah, it
to
was like a whole other year before we linked up
yeah.
again, I think.
Oh
So
wow.
those ones kind of stood alone, and then we came back to it.
Yeah.
But you
And
had
then we
heard anti-anxiety and you knew Swarvy's.
Yeah, I've been listening to Swarvy forever, and then also I'm a huge Logi fan. So
Yeah.
when Swarvy and Logi's, anti-anxiety, yes, but I think Do Rant, like for
Mm.
me, really put it over the top. Do Rant was something I listened to like religiously, and
wow.
I really respected Logi and Swarvy, and I was just like, this shit sounds beautiful, and
Mhm.
it was something that was like kind of a meditative project to me, and I felt like, um, yeah, I think Durant was the thing that kind of really put me over and was like, I have to work with him,
Yep.
and
Mhm. I
I think,
heard really good. I mastered an EP that you did with Nelson. With
yeah,
I don't know, was
that
it
was
Nelson at the time or was it Norvis at the time?
Orvis Jr., Nelson Bandela.
Yeah. So y'all did an EP. I don't remember what year that was, but that was a minute ago. And that
That
was
was
the
a
first
long
time I
time
heard
ago.
you, and I was a fan since then. And then I just kept stayed tapped in and like watched all your videos and everything that was coming out. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So I'm pretty sure we were
Yeah,
talking about working together for like some years. We just kept saying like,
yeah,
yeah, it's working. And then we just like, we finally actually did it, but it
yeah.
was a while.
Yeah. No, it's that's really cool. And I share the sentiment on Logi. I think Logi's an incredible talent.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it was
and
dope.
I think one of the things I was thinking about you, Nina, is that I think you're on a mission to be the best rapper in the world, and I'm
Yeah,
not sure that everyone knows it. Like, I was looking at the track record. I'm like, holy crap, she rapped with Elucid, Cavalier, Mavi, just on the last two projects. Like, this is you don't rap with those people if you're not trying to be like the best, you know?
I'm gonna add Denmark Vesey in there.
Mm,
And Mark, absolutely. Oh man.
Um,
Quelle.
but yeah, I mean, Quelle.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
always tried to rap with my favorite rappers. Like, and those guys are just some of my favorites. Like everybody you named are just some of my
Oh
favorites.
man. The Von P. Don Will stuff. I love
Ryan
that.
Morgan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Yeah.
love that. So it was, yeah, it's you are definitely on a mission to be the best. And there's like characteristics that you can see of that, like working with the best people, getting better at picking collaborators and beats, getting better at album cohesion and projects, making every second count. And you have gotten better and better at all of that. Um, and whether you think Nina's one of the best or not, having that mission is what hip hop's about. It's you know what I mean? That trying to be the best you can be. And just I respect the hell out of it. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm very competitive, but I think with that competition, yeah, that is hip hop. The
Yeah.
Mm.
And
healthy competition. I like to compete even with my friends. Like
right.
I was just telling Swarvy the other day, like I've been rapping a lot with Masai and Samir Truth, and they've been pushing me. Like every time I'm in the studio with them, I'm like, damn, I gotta rap a little better because everybody's trying to rap hard, and I just appreciate that part of the culture
Mm.
Yeah,
still.
I would never rap with Stas the boss. Like that's not I would be very worried about being embarrassed. And so yeah, it's just I think yeah, it's an important thing because anytime you're outside of that Lucid House community, it's like a top of list elite rapper who you bring in. So I think that's an important distinction.
So, so what are some of the, like working on your craft? What are some of the things that you would like to improve on that you've noticed that you'd like to work on moving forward?
Is this for me or for both of us?
Oh, well, it could be for both. It was more for you, but it could be for both of you. Yeah.
What would I like to improve on? I think I I would like to improve on performance. I think I really enjoy performing, but it's probably my least sharp thing in my tool belt.
Hmm.
I think I do fine at it, but I think I want to do like better than fine. Um, yeah, everything else is like I guess I'm always challenging myself to write differently. Um, and by differently, I just mean like write about other things and
Mm.
like not so sometimes I feel like a lot of my raps are really introspective, which is cool because I feel like people identify with that, but sometimes I want to be able to zoom out a little bit more. So,
Yep. No, and you do, and somebody pointed out that TSA was is such a focused song.
Mhm.
It's a linear story song, which sometimes you you kind of mix a gumbo together of different things, jokes, serious observations, you know, all of it. So TSA is a little more straightforward. I think it might be the only one like that, right?
Yeah, TSA is like a real comes from like a real instance and a real story, I feel like. So, um, yeah, I guess it is like the only track on this record that's yeah, linear in that way and like talks about a time when I was like selling weed and it went terribly, you know.
Mhm. That makes sense. Yeah. Swarvy, yep. What were you looking to improve on
Like with this record or just in general, like
in
moving
general?
forward?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get more comfortable using my voice. So singing more has been fun, just experimenting with like different tones, getting more dynamics in my music rather than having everything so like compressed all the time, even though that, that works for a lot of shit. So yeah, like, more depth, more versatility. And yeah, performing too, but I feel like that comes with just playing a lot of shows, when you like
Yep.
play a lot, practice a lot.
That
So
makes
yeah.
sense.
Also cool. This is like kind of a side note, but I was looking back. We just did a performance together on the Loud Radio, and I was looking back at it, and like Swarvy, you were doing like lot of the ad libs and stuff, but it was kind of like hella perfect in the ways that you were using your voice. It was like not too much and not too little, and I'm like
Yeah.
looking forward to that a lot because I guess have had that, but it feels because we sat together and made this record, like every single song together, like it
Yeah.
feels more personal, because most times
Mm,
I'm performing with people who, of course, are my homies and, love them to death, but like their connection to the record is a little bit outside because they're just playing the tracks. Whereas like
true.
you've made all the tracks and like,
Yeah, it's like a
you were
group.
there in like all the sessions and you engineered all the shit. So it's kind of like more I can see it being more personal to you,
Oh yeah,
to
definitely.
both of us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Yeah. I mean, it's like really well curated. I think it's like just under 40 minutes. Um,
The
39.
vinyl is actually a little over 40. There's more content on the vinyl. There's more audio.
Oh.
But yeah, it's about that.
Tune into the vinyl, Lucid House. Look it up. The
Yeah.
yeah. So 16 tracks, varying lengths, you know. It was just a real good mixture of that. We've talked about it about like what lengths, what songs and interludes, and um it's really this one really does open up and then close tight uh
Mm,
in interesting ways. Uh like to have a penny right before high key is
Mm.
wild. Like
mm,
high key is so big and it's so clean. It's very essentially like a top track of the record. And
Mm.
Penny is so so brilliant. And it's so drilled down in like the claustrophobic fears of parenthood. Um, it's really cool combination for me.
mm.
Yeah. A penny has to be a favorite of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too. I love the way
mine
that came
too.
out.
It
Oh,
it
that's
came
dope.
out
Oh, yeah.
very well. Lauren Whitehead is one of my favorite writers ever, and I've had the pleasure of growing up around her, and I have to give her flowers at all times and say that my pen game wouldn't be half as strong if I didn't grow up in rooms with her and like listen to her write and speak and all those things. So to have her on the record was very special and was kind of full circle for me because we've never actually collaborated in that way. And then,
Uh,
just the line on her, so many lines in that poem are beautiful. I think the part where she's saying like talking about her kids and then just referencing them as Nappy Nina's nephews and
Yep.
like
Yep.
that part just always really like fucks with me. Like I actually yeah, sometimes I'm just like, damn, like it
Aw.
feels like a big responsibility, but also like a beautiful thing to listen to and like hear a person refer to you as that for their kids, feeling like I'm such an important part
And
of it.
because Lauren Whitehead is just it's so good at organizing the thoughts, that's like at a pinnacle moment where
Yeah.
you're telling the
Right.
kid like say it with your chest, you know, uh,
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
spit it from the heart, like all that, and then like uh, yeah, you're Nappy Nina's nephews, and it's such a good culmination of
Oh, man, yeah,
uh,
and a beautiful delivery as well of the
exactly.
Yeah,
piece. I mean,
Yep.
absolutely.
And it was just that's such a perfect like back half of the album reward for people who stick with it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like a lot of people are listening for the top tracks, you know.
Yeah.
Um not as many album people as there used to be.
Right.
Um and a penny is just such a good reward for people who love a full listen. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, being tracked well. But that brings me to the next point. I played my son the Hit It Out the Park video. He's 11, and he was like, "I like this."
Nice.
So, and it's that is to me one of the best first songs of this year.
Wow.
It's just it's a great table setter.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's I just wanted to see wh- what the thoughts were. When did that come in process? Was that because it sounds like it wasn't the first, right? You guys had a
It
few
wasn't the first
some
song,
years
but
ago.
it
Yeah,
was pretty early though. Like, let's see. I don't remember how many like total sessions we had together because like, the first one, like Nina said, was like just a day in LA, and then the next one was that on the East Coast?
I want to
Did I not
say,
see you again till here?
yeah, I want to say Out the Park was like the first session we had in PA.
Okay, yeah. I think
And
you're
I
right.
think I remember him playing Swarvy playing the beat, and I was just like, what the fuck? It's like, I gotta have this, number one, and then two, like this has to go crazy. This song
yeah,
is the beat is huge. It felt so yeah, the drums are just crazy on that. I think the drums are just like they just require you to like kind of be big. And
Mm.
um yeah, I was happy to have a song like that. And I think I didn't like, of course, there's an obvious baseball reference, and because of the video, it's like now a baseball
right.
song. But like I was trying to explain this other day, like I wasn't I reference sports a lot in my raps. Like I wasn't thinking of it as like a baseball track. Like I was like, oh, like yes, the hook is obviously baseball, but I wasn't like, you know, this is
Right.
the MLB, what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Oakland A's, but I'm glad that it did come together as that because shooting the video, I got to like pay homage to my city and my team that is no longer there and like so much shit. So it felt like right on time. That song felt right on time.
Since my son is studying like kind of methods of writing, he's starting to catch like double meanings and stuff.
Hmm.
So I paused it and I was like, now she said she should she's never done a stretch, but she needs to do a stretch because then she'd hit it out the park. And I explained the double meaning of stretching, hitting the homer, but also if you did a stretch in prison, you get more popularity because that hits harder for the media. And
Hmm.
so I was breaking that all down for him. It's cool. It's there's a lot of layers of description in your work that is fantastic. So and this showcases all of that. Um, yeah.
mm.
So um,
What's your typical writing process like?
I mean, on this record, it was like listening to beats where we had and then just writing, or like he'd be playing something and I would feel it was kind of just like writing in front of the track at the exact moment for
Mm.
most of it. There was one session where I was sick and like we were still in the same space together, but I had some beats in mind and I would like go into a different room and write them and then come back down and record.
Was
Um,
that a departure from what you've done in the past?
I think it's been a mix. Like sometimes on Morning Due, like some of the record I did with Dane, like in the room, and some of the record I did like on my own. So I think my process is pretty much the same. I think with Nothing is my favorite thing though, we kind of just benefited what from I think I recorded only one thing apart from being together, and I think that was just like a re-record of one of the verses, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that.
Yeah.
So we
Which one?
did, I think it was like quickness
Oh, just
some
to like do like a different version of a different take.
yeah, something like that. But mostly everything we did together.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, I think, and to get to talk about Swarvy's sound for a bit, I don't, there's reviews I've seen will talk about like a mixture of kind of electronic dance feel, funk, and jazz sounds mixing together. And to me, I think the most interesting parts of the album sonically are like not just jazz sounds, but you used meditative earlier, like meditative jazz sounds. There's sounds in jazz that reverberate to the point where they get you thinking about your own life instead of the song. Um, so you have those kind of sounds and moments, but it's also crazy funky at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So the song bounces like crazy, but you're also the MC has full permission to dig into themselves and give you their heart. And like
Mm,
that's you just don't get heartfelt bangers. It's not that's not the norm. So these are so cool. And I
thank
think
you, man.
I think there's a lot of elite MCs who would not have been ready to make this album, who would not have figured out the sonic plate
Mm,
like Nina did.
that's a good point. Yeah, Nina definitely went crazy. But yeah, that's a good way of putting it, how you described it too, because I don't know, that's kind of like my whole thing. I never really let go of like rhythms and like funk. And then I'm also just obsessed with harmonically certain there's like I don't know, there's just always a feeling I'm trying to tap into no matter what style of music it is. And it has to do with the harmonies and how the chords like resonate with you. And
Mhm.
I'm just always like obsessed with those sounds, regardless of the style of music. So I'm just, whatever I'm listening to, whatever I'm making, I'm always like kind of like soaking in those chords. And then also like leaving space for vocalists is just like that's partly me being lazy, but also just like wanting to, I don't know. I like the space too. Like I used to try to be like more maximalist with my shit, but I kind of just like to let the shit rock now. And then when I work with an artist, especially like a vocalist, I like just I like building the song around what they do. So the beat, like when Nina's recording to it, it might just be a really basic loop. And then after she records everything, then I structure the whole song around what she did so that everything sounds like one thing. You know what I mean? So it could be reflipping the beat completely. It could be repitching everything. It could be playing it backwards. It could be whatever, changing the tempo, whatever. So all those things happen.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you were listening to during the making of this project that kind of inspired the direction for it?
Um, there probably was. I'm like really bad at this question because my mind just goes completely blank when people try to ask me like if I like remember what I was listening to at the time.
Hmm.
But I am always listening to all types of shit. I listen to a lot of older music. I don't really know if there was too many modern references for this record in my mind, honestly, when I think about it. Um, I don't think I had any like maybe the closest thing to a reference was like local stop and like listening to like Afrobeat music and shit. But other than that, it's kind of just like everything sounds like adjacent to some other shit that was just like in my head for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And that
Yeah.
that's a great way to make an album because if you don't know where it comes from, then no one else does either, a lot of times.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
kind of just like making the sounds, find something I like, and then, just see what it needs to go with that. So it just gets directed as it goes.
Yeah, I feel like Local Stop is kind of the strongest memory in my mind of this record. Like, because
Mm.
I don't know if it's because I like have video of it or whatever, but I think I just remember the bass, like you actually physically making the bass line so vividly.
mhm.
True.
And
There was only
then
a couple songs we did like where I made it from scratch in front of you, right?
yeah,
It
and
was
then
like
like
that and
the
Arm in the Room.
sample on Local Stop I mean the woman in the beginning, like I took that
Oh
recording on
yeah.
the train when I was stuck, and that memory is just so strong in my mind too. So Local Stop is definitely a favorite of mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that one.
How Nina, how much of the process were you there for in terms of the tinkering with the beat that Swarvy is describing?
It's hard to say, honestly, but um at least 50 to 60%. I think,
Probably at least that.
yeah, I think there's a lot of tinkering that happened when I wasn't there for sure. I think Swarvy, like, there were moments where like things would be like tweaked or changed and he'd send it back to me and I'd be like, "Oh dang, like when did you do this?" And like
Yeah.
we have like different ways of working, but I, I was privy to watch like a lot of it happen. So I think it's hard to say because I'm not sure exactly how much time for sure went into it for real, but I have like a good estimate because like there'd be some nights where I would go to sleep and then wake up and like there'd be like a whole new version of something and then so I know those hours were spent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just be up the whole
Yeah.
time.
It's yeah, I mean it, and because every MC is at a different level of like, that's not the beat I spat on. Um and
Ooh, some
some
people get really uncomfortable about that.
right.
I did have one moment of uncomfortability, but it wasn't like a tension. It was just like I really loved. I think it was Pocket Promises, if I'm remembering
Oh
correctly.
yeah, there was one or two tracks you convinced me to go back and do it an older way, I think.
I
I can't
I
remember.
think
Pocket
it's
Promises
actually the
had two or three different
opposite.
versions.
I
Was
think,
that what
yeah,
it was?
Pocket Promises, we had like a different version. And then
Yeah,
Barbie was like, nah, this is the one. And I was like, I don't know, because I was so attached to the beat that I originally rapped to.
right.
Um, and then I had to listen to it like a few times, and I was just like, okay, you're right, this is the one. But like I was just like, damn, like I was just so married to the beat that I had already rapped on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, not like they're variations of each other, like what came out now, but it's not like completely different styles or anything. But I was just like, oh, like I remembered it going here, here, here. But I will say that it is better how it came out now.
Yeah, I mean that
I like that
patience
joint.
is real skill because that you kind of build a relationship with the original beat
Yeah.
that you did, that you sat with and wrote to, and then all of a sudden it's gone and it's replaced with something new. And the instinct's going to be, where's my, but to sit with it for a while that's awesome. Yeah.
That's a
Um,
good point, honestly. Patience was probably a really key ingredient in making this record, honestly. It was years of just sitting with the tracks and just, the record was half the length originally. It
Yeah.
was like only 18 minutes and we were like, cool, this is cool like this. Like fuck it.
Done.
Like it was like really fast and
Done.
just
Yeah.
it was tight and it was just really condensed. It was like the strongest, like really strong songs. And then the label convinced us to make more, so we doubled the length and then ended up resequencing it and shit. But it's like, so much time just sitting with the songs. It's like, is it done now? I don't know. Let's listen to it for 2 or 3 more weeks or like talk about it in a month or two, and then we'll figure it out.
by
Yeah.
the time it had to double, was there like, did you have more in the tuck to pull from, or was that like, I guess we're
We just
going on
made
the
it.
second half?
Yeah, we just booked more sessions and just made it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
think there was
cool.
definitely a resistance on both of our ends because I felt like for me at least like the 18-minute joint that we had was felt so complete. And I think I was just like, damn, like I don't know if like we can actually add on to this thing that we made.
Right?
I don't know if this is the right moment or like if we're gonna make things that fit sonically into this same thing. And luckily that did happen, but I feel like there was a moment where I was like, I'm not sure. Like I think that this 18
Right.
minutes is its own thing. Um, but
Because we didn't make anything else yet. So we were just like,
yeah, we
will
were
it
just like,
even
nah,
work?
this
You know what I
is
mean?
it.
Yeah. It started with Out the Park and ended with Goody Two Shoes. Was it only like 8 tracks, 9 tracks or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, that's crazy.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. So how did you build, like, it's almost like a house. How did you build the addition to that project?
Just kept making more stuff. Well, basically, like, I don't know. I feel like my whole process for sequencing records a lot of times is just make as much as you can in that world that you're in, you
Mhm.
know? and or it just make a bunch of shit and then you can figure out later if things fit in the same world, you know? So I feel like that's what we just did. We just like throw all the ideas we can at the wall and then we just clean it up later, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
That is such a key. That's like a foundational uh advice for making art. Just make a bunch of shit
Yeah.
and then figure it out. Like you just
Yeah.
don't stop yourself from making a bunch of shit. You
Yeah.
know, stay in
I
that
mean,
moment, make a bunch of shit, figure it out. Was there a turning point song where you guys were like, this actually does fit and increase, and we're going where we need to go?
Maybe there was.
I don't know about turning point song, but I feel like a song that we added that I was like, oh, okay, was like Crash Early. Um,
Oh yeah,
Early.
yeah.
that wasn't originally on there, and
Yep.
That one came together fast too.
that came together so quick, and it was during that session where I was sick, and I was like, uh, that beat was just so beautiful to me, and was kind of really emotional, actually. Like, you know, when you're sick, you feel kind of closer to, I don't know, I feel closer to just like, you feel kind of vulnerable, you know, so you're
Yep.
just like
Yep.
emotionally open in a way. Um, and I feel like the day that I was writing to that record, I had a conversation with my mom that was like emotionally, like I had a lot of family stuff going on. And I feel like once we recorded that track, I was just like, oh, okay, like there's, yeah, like this other stuff does hold up to what we've made before, and it's
Mm.
really
That one
important
for
to,
sure feels
yeah,
like it fits with the original version of the record too. Like
yeah,
that would have fit in the OG track list for sure.
exactly.
Some of them were harder to fit in. Like we didn't know where to put TSA for like a long ass time, and yeah, there was just a bunch of tracks where like, how does this even fit? Like, you know, so that it makes sense when you listen front to back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Crash Early would have been like a hell of a Far Side song. You know?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
That's crazy.
it's so dope. But yeah, that's good time. Keith, do you have any favorite runs on this? Any pockets that you
I think for me, the album started to click at Come Up. I really loved Come Up.
okay?
Nice.
Um,
I like that.
I mean the whole middle section, Come Up, Arm in the Rim, Crash Early, Quickness.
Oh, that's a great that's a
That's
great
dope.
run. That's a great run.
Yeah, I think Arm in the Rim and I mean Arm in the Rim is special because it has the hook that's like very spacious, and it's kind of songy a little. It's
Mhm.
like still rap, but you know, more melodic, I feel like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which is not what I normally lean to. And I think I'm having a lot of fun performing that song. And
That one's fun.
yeah. Come Up, I
I'm
feel the same about. It's like it has a lot of melodic elements that like I'm not used to doing vocally, and it's been fun doing that.
That's awesome. I think Keith, I think I would go with a penny to the end of the album.
Yeah.
wow. Nice. That's fire. I like that.
Yeah.
It's I just think I think Groundhog Day, I think the last verse on Groundhog Day is one of the best Nina verses, period. Uh,
Mm.
I think that is just bulletproof, word choice, cadence, uh, pocket, you know, uniqueness is weakness. Just, oh my God. Uh, it's a hell of a thing. Yeah, it's so I would go with that. But yeah, it's just a really good, a really rewarding end to the album. Um,
I'm glad
I like that.
end of the records are really important to me. I
Yeah.
still listen to albums all the time, so it's like watching a movie. It's like if it doesn't take me from the beginning to the end, like you know, it's good. Like I might like certain parts, but it's just like I like the whole experience, you know. So like
yeah,
ending strong is always important for me. I'm glad you said that.
yeah. We
Did you have a specific goal with what you were trying to do with this project in terms of the ending? Like,
I just like ahead of time, like what we want, like an idea, like before we
I
started
guess
making
when
it.
you were making the track list, and like, did you have a goal? Like, okay, this is how we want to leave the listener.
Yeah, low key, kind of. It's not like super conscious like that, but for
Mhm.
me, when I'm trying to order everything, like It's funny because it's so abstract, it's hard to explain. It's really like a lot of feelings that you get, and you just try to make sense of the order of how the feelings go. So like
Mm,
does this one feel like this momentum of this feeling takes me to the next song? And does that one feel like that momentum pushes me into the next one? Do I need a break here from feeling all this tension and I need to hear, this, or I need to hear an instrumental or whatever? So it's kind of like that. But Groundhog Day was so strong. It's like we knew Out the Park was strong as fuck because we started the original one like that, and it's so grandiose. It made the most sense to start like just fuck it, just like start huge, and
mhm.
then Groundhog Day was just so like I don't know. When we were mixing that one down, we were just like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like we kept
Yeah.
running it back. And it's like, yo, this is actually really good, and it just feels like the end. It feels like you can leave the listener there, and so we just did that.
Such an incredible way to say it, Nina, organizing your feelings, organizing the
Mm,
feelings that the music gives you. Uh, that makes sense to me. How
mm.
involved were you in uh, the organizing of the tracks and the cohesion of that?
I let Swarvy sequence the whole thing. I don't think sequencing is my strong point at all. Never has been. I don't think I listen to songs in that way. Like what should come after the next, especially when I'm working on them. I think I have like too much personal involvement sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think like producers and musicians who, are like composing these things kind of have a different ear to that than me. And I think that was proven well with like the cohesion of this project. And I think other projects that Swarby has made that I've been a fan of. So I feel like it was kind of, like out of my hands, like gratefully so, like happily so. Like so um yeah, I wouldn't say I had a huge hand in it. I feel like, of course, it was always Swarby always like checked in with me to see like, oh, do you think this should go after this? And is it cool? Like, that sort of thing. So I definitely had a say, but I would say that I was cool with the way that I felt that he felt like it should be organized.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
man.
trust is huge, by the way, in making records all the time. It's like
Yep.
so impossible to make records without
Yeah.
mutual trust like that, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's it's difficult. And but the trust, like you have to just let the other person do what they do.
Hmm.
And they're
Yeah.
like, they got this, you know.
Yeah. You believe in
Um,
each other, you know?
and that
Mhm.
is, that takes a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think it was kind of special on this because I feel like that was kind of an unspoken thing. Like we kind of came into the project with that respect. It wasn't like yeah, it was just unspoken. It was just like we know what we both do well and kind of let that play out.
because I've seen in this independent space where like so artist A starts making music by themselves, totally unknown. They make their own beats, they learn how to mix and master, they rap, they sing, and they build they build up, following, they build it. But now they're the challenge is to trust other people to step into that process that they've been doing all themselves.
Right.
Mm.
And that that can be the hardest part of letting that go. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's dope that you've always been able to just say, here's what I do, here's what I don't do. Um, yeah, makes things cleaner. Um, yep,
For sure.
it's true.
So I wanted to ask for each of you, was there any particular, so we'll go like Nappy Nina, what was your favorite verse that you did on the project? And then for Swarvy, what was your favorite beat that you did on the project?
That's really a hard question. Yeah, that's a hard question. I think I have a few favorite verses for different reasons.
Mhm.
I think Local Stop, it's one verse, but
Mhm.
um the story of that track is like personal to me. Like the what I'm rapping about is like the discomfort of New York and like my partner like struggling with that discomfort and us being stuck on the train. And I think that verse is really important to me and it kind of is one of my favorites just because of what it's talking about and kind of the memories it jogs when I hear it
Mm.
myself. So that feels really important to me. And then also just like Groundhog Day, what you were saying, like
Mhm.
the both of the verses on Groundhog Day are kind of my favorite because it feels like a flex. Like those feel like a rap. I'm rapping,
Right,
like I'm
right.
and that always feels good to do. Um, and I feel like yeah, I was really in my bag on that song in a way. And then Lift Off, I will also say is one of my favorite verses too because I don't know, like it was a pocket that I don't normally get in, and I feel like I really wanted to have this. When I heard that beat, I was really, I'm a huge fan of like those kind of like um mantra songs that are like repetitive, kind of like Isaiah Rashad type, like I don't know how to explain it. Like he's like talking to you in a way
Mhm.
that's like, yo, get this message, and I felt that way on Left Off, and I kind of just wanted to
Mm.
do that. So those three for sure.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I think Arm in the Rim is probably one of my favorite tracks, instrumentals in there. I
Mm.
really like I like when I'm able to execute this because it's not always like this, but like if I have like an idea in my head and I'm able to actually like play it out, like I found a voice memo like of myself driving to the studio before we made that of me like really badly just humming the main
Yeah.
melody on it and
Yep.
then came up with the chords at the studio and it just came together like how I wanted it to feel. So that always feels good when I can just like you know just materialize it. But a lot of times I'm just kind of like, just improvising and seeing what I get and then work with what I get. But it's not always that direct.
I appreciate it because I think it's much more normal for me to walk around my house and be like, do 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 do. Do. It's a lot more low key than me just walking around the house like Lucifer, son of the mole for me. So I appreciate um putting that gentle stuff in my head. Uh, it's the other thing. One of the best beefs of 2024 K is the Lucid House click versus overdraft fees. Overdraft fees are the
Yeah.
devil. Um, and so we on Omakase, it's a great song. You always enjoy rapping with your people so much. Masai, Stas, you always enjoy your people so much, and it's you can feel the energy there. You can feel the joy in this collaboration.
Yeah.
Uh, Even beyond that, though, there's a way to look at this album and your work that you're never alone in your music,
Mm.
which is unique. A lot of people, we talked about Ka recently. Ka to me was the loneliest person in rap. He was always alone in his music.
Mm.
Uh, Even when he was talking about the community, it was from a great distance. You're always with people in your music, um, whether it be loved ones or just or the TSA. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, rapping with Stas and Masai is my favorite pastime. Those are two of my best friends in real life, and I think that definitely comes through on every track. Um, Rapping with Stas is like rapping with my big sis, who
yep.
I've been trying to compete against, trying to get on the level of forever. And then Masai is like the opposite, like my younger homie, who I'm also trying to get on the level of.
Yep.
uh, so I think, yeah, anytime I can have them, they've been on every record for a reason.
Yep.
Can I just say, when I was mixing that song and I'm like pitching Nina's voice up and around, and then Stas comes right after, Nina's voice pitched up sounds exactly like Stas.
Yeah, I just
Like
be
it was
trying to
so,
copy.
it's crazy and I would play that song for some people and they thought it was Nina rapping through the whole thing. They didn't know it switched.
Amazing.
I mean, shout out to Stas because like even my ad libs, like the yes, yes, yes is very much me, but like if you hear Stas's ad libs, it's like, yeah, yeah. Like it's not much of a difference. Like I'm not gonna say I jacked that because I didn't jack it from her, but I feel like there is an influence there.
Yeah, it was crazy how much I didn't realize it till I was putting it together, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like there were so many similarities with the type of things I had to do to both y'all's voices too, like the way y'all even just speak into the mic, or just be like using the mic, like it
Yeah.
brings out certain things. I was like EQing y'all's voices like the same, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I wasn't even trying to like line it up like that.
Yeah, and I think that West Coast rap, we both grew up with like that heavy West Coast influence, and I think like that higher voice, like rapper, like Seattle heavy, diggable. Like we grew up, both of us listening to that and Shabazz and all that. So I think that comes through in both of them.
Yep. And yeah, there was definitely some moments on this album where I'm like, God, this like sonically, this feels, I don't know why this feels like a dilated like situation,
Mhm.
It just had that, you know, opulent, thoughtful West Coast Underground feel to it. Uh, Super dope. Nothing like it. I adore this album. It is currently this. When did this come out? Was this week
October 23rd.
23rd? It's number 25 on my top albums list and climbing.
Ooh.
So it's moving up. And
Like top albums of the year?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, albums of the year. Yep.
All time of all
Yeah, I
time.
was like top albums of
All
all
time.
time. I was like,
Who's
what?
number one?
The
It's only been out a
Giants.
month
Who's number one on that?
for the year. Oh yeah, what was your
Yeah,
favorite for the
what's the
year?
number one on there?
We're
For
asking the questions now.
Our podcast now.
at this point, it's still different type time.
Oh, I mean,
Ooh,
yeah, huge cat fan, of
yeah,
course.
that
Different
record's
type
insane.
time.
That
I
record's
just
very, very
lived with
good.
that album so much.
Wow.
Yeah, he's very good.
There's a lot on there too. It's like so dense.
Yeah, it's and so varied, and so many flows and it's just flavor.
Shout
Uh,
out to Cavalier.
Yeah, shout out Cav. Cav's a
yeah,
goat.
Absolutely.
yep. But my number two did change. So things are changing, always change. But this is it's such a cool album, and it's an album, right? This is as a coherent work. This flows to me better than most albums that came out this year.
Mm. Thank you, man. That
Yeah,
means a lot.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, I appreciate it. I think so. Kay, get a Nina theory out there for everybody. I Nina to me is a kind of a coded MC, right? Like this is the era of big. This is a post Young Thug voices era, right? Kendrick just dropped GNX where he's doing all these crazy voices. People love the crazy voices. Um, and there's a lot of subtlety in what Nina does. There's a lot of subtlety and levels of the writing and like the performance that people can miss. And I think I was thinking about it because somebody online was like, Mike is not a great technical MC. And I was like, oh, you just don't know the code. You don't know the code yet. Like,
Yeah, for real. He be saying so, yeah.
I love
He
Mike.
be saying so much.
when you
Mike's the
know the
goat too.
code, it's going
He's
to be
very
a
good.
whole new world. And I think that's when you know the code for Nina, you can listen to Cope and understand Cope, and you're like, oh shit, okay, here I understand what's going on now. Um, you're in a whole new world. So you just have to, because you don't rap like other people rap. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm happy to have that legacy. I think, um, yeah, I think if people are saying that about me when I'm 80 or whatever, that like I rapped
Mhm.
unlike anyone else, like I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's fire. You just
Yeah,
being yourself all the time.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Kay, do you have any other questions?
No.
Let's go to recommendation corner. Give some people some recommendations
Hmm.
to listen to here. There's so much. I guess I was listening to what was it? Oh, I'm gonna go. So Call Out Culture had their 300th episode. They interviewed the Indelible MCs with Mr. Len and LP and all those old guys, and that got me back into Juggernaut's Clear Blue Skies and Breeze Brewing on Clear Blue Skies is just beastly. Just great stuff. So, what a performance! What a project! I recommend that. The other one is Mahash Mashana, Father John Misty. I am not a Father John Misty person. Uh, Prickly white folk dudes, not typically my deal, but uh, when he hits it, he hits it. And this is a really really good album, and it's 8 songs. Um, just a really unique lyricist, uh, and that'll always hold me. Uh, Interesting stuff there too. Yeah, so I would do that as my second one, and of course, Cavalier and Child Actor, Cine. Uh, yeah, very cool. Because Child Actor, there was an interview while when he was talking about previous industries, and he's like, I got like 8 of the 10 songs. People bring me in for stuff, but they don't tend to do a whole album because it's a little too weird. So I was happy that Cavalier did a full album with him to shake that notion from him because I think Child Actor is excellent. Um, so yeah, those are my three. Swarvy, what are you bumping? You bumping anything?
Oh man, like I said earlier, I totally blank out. Let me look.
It's such a hard question.
I'll be listening to so much random shit. I've been running back a bunch of JB's records, like the James Brown shit.
Oh wow, that's awesome. The band, yeah,
Yeah. Like the instrumental, like a lot of the instrumentals and shit are like the real minimal joints are crazy.
crazy.
Have you heard of
JB.
Sparkle Mammy? I think they're from the Bay, maybe. They're from Cali, I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
Crazy ass music. Weldon Irving. I was bumping Weldon Irving earlier. I was listening to a lot of Quincy because of, rest in peace.
Yeah, Quincy. Yep.
Roy Ayers, Blackbirds. I've been listening to old shit.
Oh
Piero
man, Roy Ayers,
Umiliani.
good stuff. Yeah, I can feel that Roy Ayers being felt in this album for sure.
Oh yeah, it's like my favorite shit.
Yeah, man.
Love Roy.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. What are you rocking with?
I've been listening to that new Gibbs. I think that came
Oh, yeah.
like the
You
same day as our
only live
record.
once. Yeah.
I like that one a lot. I mean, I love Freddie Gibbs, like
Yep,
for better or worse.
it's true.
Yeah, that's all I've been. I mean, of course, I tapped into the Kendrick and
The only thing about the Gibbs that I would change, he has one of those weird answering machine skits.
yeah, he always has weird skits though. He's
Like
not.
that's just
He
straight up from
always
the
has weird
90s. Like that's like,
You
oh,
just tired of hearing answer machine skits?
skits.
oh, there's so many answering machine skits. It's crazy. And it's always like the lady's voice and she's saying the wildest, you know what I mean? Like, I can't believe that you had sex with my sister on a rocket ship.
I
Just
love him for that though. That's one of
That's
the things
so
I love
fucking
about
hilarious.
Gibbs is he's so I don't know. Oh, I also been listening to the Blue, both of the records that Blue put out this year.
yeah.
Um,
Mm.
I mean, I've loved Blue for a long time, and
Yep.
I think him coming back with Exile was dope, and
Yep.
the LA, the Los Angeles joint was dope too. So
Yep. Love the
say hip
ominous
hop
world of
wise,
evidence. Yeah.
hip hop wise, I've been listening to that. Oh, and then the new Lucid, of course.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, the new Lucid's crazy.
Yeah, Revelator. That.
Wait, I actually thought of 2 records from this year that I can
Do
recommend.
it. Do it.
Okay. Sheffley, Fescue June.
Oh, Chef Lee,
I think
yes.
it's only on Bandcamp. I don't think you can hear it anywhere else. But that was one of the craziest records I heard this year. And
What
it's
is this
very
now?
beautiful.
Sorry, say it again.
Chef Lee, CH, the chef, and then Lee. One word.
Oh, Chef Lee. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. He played. I believe he played bass with Toro y Moi, and he was playing a bunch of music with Rose Joe Lewis, if you're familiar with her.
Yep.
Uh, Oakland Cat, fucking amazing. That record's so good. And then also William Alexander just put out his record Solo, and that's a good friend of mine. He plays in Mind Design's band with me. drums, but he's a fantastic singer and guitar player and writer. And that record's beautiful, like solo guitar and vocals.
That's awesome.
There's my Rex.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kay, what are you bumping?
I mean, obviously the Kendrick. I want to get into the Michael Kiwanuka. I can never pronounce his last name.
Small change.
Were you able to dive into that?
I was. I felt like it was less of a Danger Mouse feel and more of like the album NPR days kind of stark so acoustic-y feel.
Okay.
Yep. So it was interesting. Yeah. Good deal. I don't know. Yeah. I'm still just rocking with a lot of my stuff, a lot of my P-Rack and stuff like that. Yeah. What was the album? P-Rack by it's all P-Rack by the Marlows. Recommended to us by the Heart Tones on Recommendation Corner. Just all part of that, the incredible music coming out of see what was Big Crown Records. Big Crown Records is doing great work. Yeah. So doing the good work. We're getting some great feedback, great stuff happening. Oh, Nina wanted to tell you something because you're the only person in State of the Game history that talked to us about sexism. Because I don't really I've had a lot of women on here. I don't ask them about sexism because it's all they get asked about, and it ends up being the focus of the thing. So, but I was like, I'm always down to talk about it and bring it up. And I just wanted to say this is the third week in a row that we've had female guests. And this is not the ladies of November. This is not a special. I'm only going to mention this here, but I just wanted to mention it, say it wasn't hard. You tuned in to the right music coming out. You can have great guests who make great music, and they don't all have to be dudes in cypher hats.
Yeah, there's so many non-men rappers.
Yep.
And I love the Mensees immensely, but I love the other ones too.
Yeah, give it a shot, people. Yeah, I appreciate it, and we're booked solid till like the end of the year now. Like it's crazy.
Wow, nice.
Things are opening up, man. So
thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thank you guys for being on.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
So I will continue to wave the flag for this record. This is a great album.
Thank you.
Nothing is my favorite thing. Is it coming to Bandcamp at any point, or is it going to stay on?
I really want
to be decided.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I would love that.
Probably put that vinyl up there on Bandcamp though, for sure.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Actually.
But the digital.
And do you have an idea when the vinyl is going to be coming out?
Oh, we have it.
Yeah, it's out. Yeah,
it's out.
Oh, it's okay.
Is that on the Lucid House
shipping.
website at this point?
Lucid House site, yeah. But we can probably put that on Bandcamp. I could probably do that.
I feel like we could probably push them on Bandcamp.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. This was a fantastic conversation as always. Swarvy, thank you for
appreciate you.
Fully engaging, man. Everybody enjoy. Be kind to each other.
What will tomorrow bring?